Last night I finished writing one of the things I needed to write and sent it off, and today I finished the business course application, so I will send that off tomorrow. And I wrote the other thing I needed to write, but I'm waiting to see if I get a different download. And I'm sitting at the park before I go to a barbecue, trying to decide if I want my favorite sushi or if I'll head to the barbecue and see if they're serving up the veggie patties yet. And I noticed in my calendar, in a few days, it's the 8.5 month mark since my crisis in January. And I did have more mini crisis type stuff that happened in March, and that's when I started to taper off meds and onto micronutrients. So I don't know if I count that as a full crisis. So after I reach that 8.5 month mark, it will be the longest I've gone without a full-blown crisis. And the last time that maximum time limit came around, I did indeed have another crisis. So I need to be cautious, because I'm going for the milestone of 9 months on micronutrients only and no medications. But this time period would be a milestone as well if I can add days over the 8.5 month mark without a major crisis. But I could start that 8.5 month count again when I had that crisis stuff start happening when I was in California. The reason I don't count that as a major crisis is because I took the antipsychotic Seroquel in order to prevent it from turning into something major. I don't know if it would have turned into something major, but I couldn't take the chance being in the States. So I treated it as if it was going to be something major. So it's not really 8.5 months with no crisis, because more stuff did come up, but it's 8.5 months since the major crisis where it went into full-blown PTSD-like stuff. And perhaps it's not the greatest timing to be going back to work a bit more in mental health right after that. The trees are starting to go red. It's interesting how yesterday I created a little metaphor about how we're on the sidelines of the game of life and we're on the sidelines of the wrong game. And I'm reading the book, The E-Myth Revisited, and the next chapter that I started reading today, they're talking about create a game worth playing. It's funny because all the language they're using in this book is exactly what I'm trying to create, and I have been creating for the last year. So I'm finding it kind of fascinating. And I was also thinking about, and I wrote down something about creating a 12-step system to stepping out of the mental health system. And I was thinking about step 12 and how step 12 would be them realizing that they need our help, not the other way around. They're trying to help us, but a lot of the states we go into are for us to help them. Because we do have a different function. And maybe we need to reach a critical mass of us being able to communicate this. And I was also thinking about how it's not about the words, but the action. And it said that in the book too. And I do feel like finding some people who want to play this game. Because I feel like I'm not sure what my game of life is about right now. Feels like waiting and creating. And that's okay. And I wrote down that we could turn our new system of living into a key to a new universe. And the new universe is realizing that we're creating something and moving in alignment with that. It's obvious to me that I'm creating something, not as myself. When I went to the Boney M concert, the lead singer said that God was using her as a vehicle for bringing that music and blah, 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 and it had nothing to do with her. And I feel that there is something trying to be created through a lot of us, which has nothing to do with our personal life and self. And I wrote down too that, and I remember saying something about this a long time ago, killing him with kindness, because they think that we're these crazy, angry, violent people, and we're not. Can I create a game of the invisible rules of the we-go structure, which is that we're not separate? Yet the days tick by and it's closer to 8.5 months without a major crisis. Last night I was having some really bad dreams, and I'm pretty sure I took 3 doses of 4 caps of Hearty Nutritionals, and I've been taking 4 doses of 4 because I feel like I'm in a powerful creative state and I need the extra nutrition and the extra buffer. I don't know if it's necessary, but I'm pretty sure I only took 3 doses of 4 yesterday and I had bad dreams. And I was feeling a bit of fear, and it seems like that carried on to the dream state. And I don't usually dream, so I do need to be careful. So yeah, it's 12 steps to removing our codependency on the mental health system, our addiction that they give us. And I feel like mania is an innovation in consciousness. It's like discovering new laws of consciousness or new laws of physics, especially new laws of physics or equations in math. Sometimes it takes many, many years before a new math equation that is derived and discovered is found to have any practical applications. And in the same way, mania has a lot of practical applications. We're just not aware of it because we haven't tried to figure out what the function of this is. And mania really is energy. It's not a disease, it's energy. So when I say mania, really it's extra energy, more energy than we typically have on a daily basis in this routine world. And I know someone right now who is in a bit of a crisis and saying a lot of words and trying to teach people and yet angry. And that's part of what made it arise in mind, that people don't want to hear this. They want to see the doing of it. And if we're not able to do it, then the words are kind of meaningless. So if I talk all these words, but I'm an angry person, then it's not it. Maybe making a game in business will help ground this, because it makes it more real or more something. I don't know. And the energy of mania has no motive per se. It's the momentum of the moment, and will create with that which is in front of one, not based on ideas and patterns. So I feel like in reading this book, my brain will figure something out. It will figure out how this all fits together. And I forgot to say, I've been really forgetful. I went to Tim Hortons this morning and got a coffee and a bagel. And the lady handed me a coffee, put it in my cup holder. She handed me the bagel and she said, "Here's your bagel." And I was thinking, where's my coffee? And I almost said, "Where's my coffee?" And then I realized she had given it to me. So I gotta be careful. But in a way, I feel like deep forgetfulness has a function. Can I forget everything and let the moment create